Hello! Today I will take you on a quick tour of SignageSuite. SignageSuite is one of very few providers on the market for digital signage that was designed specifically with small business in mind. As such, you'll find a vastly simplified interface with yet still a powerful tool set that we have cherry-picked from the so-called enterprise world of more complex solutions. So it should be just about exactly what you need for a small business environment, and I'll show you how that works here right now. You can see I'm logged into the portal with my browser. I'm in Firefox right now, but you can use other browsers as well. And you'll see these three sections here: pages, playlists, and channels. Most of your time will be spent in the pages section. You can think of those like slides, and we can add those right here at the top right, just by clicking the add button, which will give us a blank page to design on. You can also choose from the sample page library, where there's a bunch of different types of templates for different purposes, different flavors. And let's see here. Let's just grab some. Some of these are portraits. Some of these are landscape. Just grab one. And we can also use Canva because we're integrated with that platform as well. So you can leverage the probably hundreds of thousands of templates and designs that they have in there, and also add digital signage features on top of those designs, such as scrolling text and social media feeds, etc., which we'll see here in a moment. And of course, you can also build in traditional desktop publishing programs like Photoshop or video editing softwares and upload those assets manually. So if we jump into one of these pages, we'll see the page designer where we can modify and add content to the page. You can think of this just like your TV screen, with the border being equivalent to the TV border. And as you kind of saw there earlier, we can do this in landscape or portrait or other aspect ratios as well. And the system will automatically scale to whatever size TV you're using and whatever resolution it may be as well. So we can start by clicking on the settings gear at the lower left here, which allows us to not only change aspect ratio, but even set a custom resolution if we have something like one of these newer ultra wide stretch TVs or displays, commercial displays. We can do that. But normally we're just in 16:9 or 9:16. Here we can also set a background, which can be a color, including a custom color, or an image, which just allows us to have that kind of fixed in the background as we continue to build up our design. So I could go in here to the image option, and you can upload an image from your computer, but you can also jump over to one of these stock photo databases and browse for what you're looking for. So let's take an example of a simple restaurant menu. We can browse for, let's say, a chalkboard, and just grab one of these here, and that will import it from Unsplash in this case. And we'll see that in our library here in a moment. And now we've got that on our background, and then we can proceed to add additional elements on top of that. So we can choose either the text tool, which would allow us to build any kind of text layout we want. We also have a tool just for menus called Item List right here, which would let us set the styling for each of the fields in our menu and have that populate automatically as we build out the menu. So we can go here and make sure these are actually white and set our font that we want. There's a bunch of different fonts in here, and proceed to do the same thing with these other ones. Let's go white for that as well. So all this styling that we set for each of these fields will follow as we build this out. Some of these are optional. So let's say item 1, and we can use the $sign or not. I'm obviously not a restaurant owner. And you get the idea. So forth, we can build that out, and then all the different items you add onto your canvas can be just dragged around wherever you want to position them. So one thing that makes this unique is the flexibility of the design tool, where we're not restricted to having something full screen only or only in one of the quadrants. We can position any of these items anywhere on the canvas. So if I add another image or a video, we can put it anywhere as well. So all these things kind of work the same way. We can just drag them wherever we want, resize them. And so some other tools, if we click on video here, let's find something to add to the canvas. Let's go for something like coffee. Come on. Oh, I guess that was already there. And let's grab one of these, like this guy here. So we can put this video anywhere we want, or we could use it full screen. I've already started designing a menu, so we're not going to do that. So let's just drag this down and pretend like we wanted this down here in the lower right. And if we want, we can play the video to see what it looks like, or we can just let it sit there. And so some other options we have here, I'm just going to delete this video for now, get out of my way. We have all these different dynamic tools here in the apps list. One of my favorites is called My Data, which is kind of a catch-all tool, but is most commonly used for scrolling text. So let's write a message here. And we can choose the ticker option. And if we want to see it run, we can click the little curly arrow there, but we would just drag this wherever we want it to sit. And we can modify the speed and font and everything else here at the left. Get it looking just the way we want. We can even put a background behind that, like a box. We can use box and choose, let's choose black. And what we're going to do is make it just a little bit translucent. So just to set that text off a little bit more. Let's see here, color. And then we'll send this to the back layer of the design. Maybe we'll make this a little more transparent. So just to set that off a bit. So there's the beginning of our design, and you can see there's a lot of other tools here. If we put in, weather, we can put in our location. And just like everything else, just set it up the way you want it to display. There's a bunch of different styles of how weather, for example, can be displayed. So we can pick our favorite style and put it where we want, and this will update automatically over time as the weather changes. Similarly with social feeds, there's most of the social media platforms here that once you connect them, they will show posts from your Facebook business page or your Instagram feed, which will give you a lot more engagement on your social media accounts with a heads up experience on your TV. So as you can see, a lot of different tools there. Let's just save this and go back, and we'll continue with the publishing flow. Next step would be to add a playlist. So we would click on Add Playlist, and I can give it a name, or I don't have to. Now I can open it up first, or I can just drag my page right down to the playlist. And you can see here I can drag additional pages down and build out a sequence of pages, and I can drag them around to rearrange the order. I'll grab one more here just to show that. And so we can have whatever order we want here, and we can click this button to change the timing of how long each is going to be displayed on the TV screen before proceeding on to the next page. If we click on a page and choose schedule, you have the option to schedule for a specific time frame in the future, or during the mornings only, whatever is appropriate for that message. So you can set that up. If you don't want a page in the playlist anymore, you can drag it off. And you can add music to the playlist. So this is, you'd have to pick where you're going to get your music from. There's a list of radio stations from around the world, traditional AM and FM, as well as online stations, online only stations. So you pick your country, pick your genre, and hit OK, and that will play on your TV screen if you've got the TV volume up. And we have different transition effects between the pages to make that more interesting as the playlist ticks along. And then of course you can preview it as well, so you can see what that looks like. Just our sample template there that we did not modify, but we could have. And in a few seconds here we'll see it progress on to the next one. Here we go. So the last step of getting this published to the screens is to drag our playlist down onto a channel. Oops, I've got too many tabs open in my other browser. Let me just refresh this page here. Just drag this down to the channel. So the channel is, as the name implies, a distribution channel. So it can be linked to one or many screens, depending on how you would like to share, send out that content. This is another area where we can schedule material. So we can schedule the entire playlist to only run at certain times. So we can have a number of different playlists here scheduled for different time frames. But otherwise, we just hit the check mark there at the right to set that, and we're ready to use this on the screen, with the caveat that we would have to register our device at the screen to the channel. So we would do that by clicking the play button, and we're going to do this on a new device. So when you connect up a device that you get from your reseller, you'll see a registration code on the TV screen. You just type that in there, give it a name, and that will complete the process. It will pick up and start playing that channel shortly, and you'll see whatever you've arranged for it. And so you can have many screens to one of the channels or just one screen on that channel. And you can, of course, name these appropriately, whether it be left screen, right screen, or northwest screens, whatever it may be that this content's going to. Another conversation topic is that this entire space we're looking at is a dashboard, and you can have multiple dashboards if that helps you organize your workspace better. So when setting up users for the account, you can assign them to just specific dashboards. So if you have screens in a cafe that an employee or staff member is assigned to manage, you can set those up on one dashboard. But then if you have separate screens that are for production or HR or whatever it may be, or front-facing screens versus internal communications, you can have those all set up on different dashboards with different people managing them, and sort of keep people sandboxed in their workspace with what they're supposed to focus on. So that's another option for you. Bunch of other bells and whistles that you can chat about with your reseller. But that is kind of the long and short of how this works. If you want to build content in Canva, that's easy. You just make your design in Canva, and there's a share option, which you'll find in the how to do in the knowledge base. And actually, I didn't mention, if we go back into one of these designs, anytime you're in the page designer, if you're working on an item, you'll see a little question mark in the title, which will take you to the related help article for it. The note about Canva is always visible here at the bottom left, so you can always click on that to remind yourself how to work with Canva, which is just a matter of clicking the share button, and you search for our integration called Player, which will then send it over to your dashboard. When you're making designs in Canva and you want to use those on your screens, you'll just need to keep in mind that the design in Canva needs to be the same shape as the TV that you're going to put it on, and the same shape as the other pages that are in your playlist. So for most people, that means 16:9 ratio, or something like 1920 by 1080 pixels. If you try to use like a square design, it will send it over to your account, but it won't be able to be added to the playlist because it doesn't match the shape of the other pages in that playlist. So either find a design that's already 16:9 or use the Canva Pro feature to resize that design in 16:9. So that's just really all there is to know about Canva. And so, yeah, we look forward to helping you with your project by way of your reseller. Any questions, please reach out to them, and we look forward to serving you. Thank you.